Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, this kind of makes me happy. And it's heroes. Why am I talking about heroes? Because you know what? I'm sick of talking about people who suck. So today I'm going to have us all talking and sharing who is your hero. And I was debating should it be real or fictional, but I guess it's a free country. Go ahead and make them fictional if you like. But the ones I have that I am prepared to share, they are real. And speaking of someone who is real and does not suck, all the way from the future, and a northern hemisphere, it is the one, the only, the man from Downton Abbey, Lord Steak.
Hi.
How's the future?
It was daylight 24/7, so bright.
Oh, the future is bright. Finally, we had to get to the summer to do that. Gosh, I'll tell you what. I said it before. I've said it once. I've said it twice, and I'm going to say it one more time. That I don't do well with 24-hour sunlight. The only time I have experienced it, and it was in Iceland, but I could get used to it. So maybe, yeah, but I was like constantly wired. I felt like someone like had dumped 10 pounds of cocaine into my veins, and I just couldn't sleep. And yeah, it was like I was spending the weekend with Hunter Biden.
Oh wow.
I know that's harsh, but yeah. So please don't cancel me, YouTube, before I'm only 15 hours away. 15 watch hours. It's been a marathon, but it's worth it. But yeah, so please, everyone who is coming in and those that will be seeing this in the future, please be certain to like, share, and subscribe, and share your heroes. Who are your heroes? I have a list of mine, and I'll just go ahead and start with my first one, and then I might go back and forth with Steve depending on what he has. So here is one of mine. We just got done celebrating him July 2nd, rather, the hero of Little Round Top, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. He was a colonel at the time of the Battle of Gettysburg, but then became a general by the end, and was the general who received the Confederate surrender at Appomattox. And if you've seen the movies Gettysburg, it does this so well, so perfectly. The Battle of Little Round Top, it is easily the best part of the movie. The portion,
Well, you just spoiled the whole thing.
what that he's a hero. It's the best part of the movie. I said he's a hero. I didn't say quite what it did.
No, now we know how it ends.
Well, for crying out loud, Gettysburg, the Civil War. The Civil War. I think we know who won the Civil War, and it's 130 years ago. I think that the statute of limitations for spoilers is over, but and that we know the North won Gettysburg, and he successfully defended the left flank of the Union Army, doing an amazing bayonet charge. And if you know the movie, you know it's just Jeff Daniels steals the show and yells bayonets. It's so inspiring. So if you want to see any part of the movie Gettysburg, see the first half.
Yeah, and good advice too. If someone yells bayonets, you charge people with whatever you have that's sharp.
Yes. And that's kind of what they did. Hello, Chris. Thank you for being here. So yeah, he's one of my heroes because he just was a really honorable man and did some really amazing things in the Civil War. Dang it, one of them, he was about to lead a charge, and as he turns to get the men going, a bullet came through one side of his hip and went right through his bladder and out the other side. should have been a fatal shot, but he's Superman or something. But he refused to fall because he felt like if he fell, that would demoralize the men. So he just started going, yeah, charge, charge, charge. And then after his men had passed, he fell down and then still came back. I would have said, screw this, I'm done with the Civil War, but he did come back. So Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, he is one of my heroes, a hero from the Civil War. Steve, do you have a hero that you would like to share?
Yeah, I have a really brave one.
Oh,
Buddha. He's just sitting around, getting fatter and fatter, and then he has the bravery to teach people about self discipline.
I think the word you're thinking of is audacity.
Yeah. Oh, anyway.
Yeah. Gee, Maxie.
Well, to be fair, I tend to look at people who create stuff.
Hmm.
Like Tolkien, Robert Jordan. You know,
Yeah.
uh, Richard Garriott, probably.
Oh, yes. 2 thumbs up for Richard Garriott. I just became aware of him. And he seems to be a genuinely good guy, too.
Yeah, it's batshit crazy politically, though.
Well, who isn't? He's just misguided. But yeah, he made the Ultima game. He did. Well, he went to the outer space. He did go to Titanic. And unlike some other unfortunate people, he survived when he got
Yeah,
stuck.
because
Yeah.
he wasn't a diversity hire, or other diversity hires didn't build the subs, so it went well.
Oh, dear. Well, all. Well, I told you I was 15 hours away, but I'm already gonna. My demonetization is happening. No, actually, I think it's okay, but it was just so ironic that the captain of the Titan had a lot of the same hubris. Like he was warned and did not. Yeah, but he got stuck underneath the Titanic, and he nearly went to the great beyond. Or rather,
Yeah.
they didn't know if they were going to go to the great beyond. They had to wait like an hour to see if the engines were going to like not get all clogged up by the silt. So, yay! So Richard Garriott, and yes, Chrysanth, you made her laugh out loud, and Zax is here. Hello, and I decided it can be a fictional hero, especially since I put Rocky on the thumbnail. So I guess I need to have truth in advertising. So this is Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, and when you look at Jeff Daniels, he really looks like this dude. All right, who's next? Ah, Edith Stein. This is one that just occurred to me. Dang it, this is a sad one. Edith Stein, also known as Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross, she is a saint. She was a great philosopher. She was a phenomenologist in Germany and was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, a professor and a writer. I read her works. They're so good and they're so inspiring. But when a certain Yahtzee came to power, she lost her job because even though she converted to Catholicism, she became a Christian after reading Saint Teresa of Avila's works. She was still technically a Jew, so she couldn't work. And at that point, she entered a Carmelite convent, and they wouldn't let her join because before they were like, no, you're too daggone smart. Go out and be a professor and a teacher. But then she became a Carmelite nun and later was deported after in the Netherlands. And she did a lot of writing and a lot of advocating on behalf of the Jews and ended up dying with them as a Jew at Auschwitz. So that's Saint Edith Stein. I love her. And she kind of bridged two worlds during a time that wasn't very tolerant. Let's just put it to you that way. Let's see. And I didn't know if I'm going to go back and forth. So, Steve, if there's someone else you want to throw in before I go on to the next one of mine,
Mm,
could be a
no.
movie one. Yeah. All right. That's no problem. All right. So, my next one is actually several of them. The heroes at D Day. These boys, and many of them were boys, this is their first taste of combat, was being let out on the morning of June the 6th into the ocean to be blown to hell by the Yahtzees. Many of them didn't even make it to shore. If they weren't shot, they drowned. Oh,
Drowned?
damn it! I did it again. They drowned. They drowned. And then if they made it to the shore, then they had to go all the way across that open ground with barbed wire and everything. And the Yahtzees did have the high ground. And I think, wasn't it like the casualty was 60%? It's just horrendous. And of course, Saving Private Ryan did this so well. Jock Nerdy is here. Hello there. Hello. Please share in the chat your hero, real or fictional. I have real ones, but I guess, but fictional ones are good too. Did they not swim then drowned it in the ocean? Well, yeah, I know I can't spell. Okay, I have been a failure over this past hour. This is confirmed. I have failed in every aspect of my life. So there. But well, of course, these ones stormed the beach. Others parachuted in the night before. That was shown in Band of Brothers. Hello, Matt G. Oh, you brought a cake? Oh gosh, cake. Let them eat cake. So all of these men were heroes. I just can't imagine being there in those boats. I'm terrible at military history, so I can't say what the name of this kind of boat was that they had, but where they put them in the little things and then just opened it up. But that's bravery. And of course, the dude that was taking the photographs. And you talk about being vulnerable. Potato Reverend says they walked into a wall of machine gun fire. Some windows had 3 guns pointed at them. You are not a failure. Oh, thank you. See, Potato Reverend says I'm not a failure. Well, I've only been a failure for an hour.
I didn't say you were a failure. I said you fucked up.
You heard it here first. I'm not a failure. I just fucked up. Well, thank you, Stieg. That just makes me feel so happy. I did fuck up though. Lander, thank you. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you do fuck up, if you mess up, you may as well admit it because everyone knows it anyways. Yeah, so in any case. And of course, some of these heroes, not just because I'm a by God American, but my grandfather, he was not there this day. He was there afterwards. About a month or so afterwards, and it was still hell, the hellish fighting. But by that point, they had already secured the beach and had the whatever you call them, the portable ports that they built, and they were there. So that's how my grandfather ended up in Normandy. His people came after, but these were the ones that paved the way. And then I think it was the Canadians, weren't they the ones that like the Mountaineer Ranger dudes that they climbed up the cliffs? I think it was. Potato Ribbon says, my hero is my great-grandfather's cousin, one General Michael Collins. Hell to the yes, Michael Collins. Great-grandfather's cousin. Well done. You know who Michael Collins is, Steve?
Yeah, Liam Neeson played him, didn't he?
Correct. Liam Neeson did play him. Yes, he is the hero of the Irish independence, but ended up getting assassinated. Very sad. Very sad. The Canadians were oh dear, experts at war crimes. Well, yeah. Yeah, Michael Collins. Did the movie? Well, actually, what did you think of the movie, Potato Revan? What did you think of the movie? I thought it was good, but and as far as I know, it was pretty historically accurate. Let's see. When was he shot? Yeah. Isn't this interesting though, Potato Revan? He was Sinn Fein. How things have changed. How things have changed. See, how old was he when he passed? Yeah, he was murdered or assassinated, same idea, in 1922. And yeah, he was one of his constituency was in Cork. What a guy. How old was he when he passed? He passed in
Probably in his 40s.
Yeah, well, no, he was younger than that. He was born in 1890, so he was only 32.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So Michael Collins. Yeah, I didn't have a picture of him because I ashamed I didn't even think of him. And remember, Steve, before I go on to the next one, if you want to jump in with someone else. Oh, wait. Or if you wanted to think while I'm saying this with Potato Revan, he says, I loved it. I loved it, the movie. My gran said her dad said when he got the letter he died that my great grandpa fell to the knees and referred to him as a big fella of Mikey, his brother. They grew up together, both Sinn Fein. Okay. Yeah, Sinn Fein is unrecognizable today. Yeah, Sinn Fein, Fianna Gael, and Fianna Foyle and Fianna Gael. I don't know what they're up to. Okay, I just had to throw these chicks out. I know I talk about them all the time, but the one on the right, that is, of course, the little flower, Saint Therese of Lisieux. Love her. Her little sayings and little advices. Wait, that's not a word. Advices, advice and sayings really helps me through things. And she very heroically went through very traumatic situations with her father going nuts. That was very difficult, of course, back then. He was put in an asylum, and she herself was very ultra sensitive and went into Carmel and died very slowly of tuberculosis. Dying of tuberculosis sucks. So we are so lucky that we have antibiotics nowadays. Her father, though, ended up getting canonized, which proving that just because you're crazy, it's a disease. It's not your fault. And then to the left, St. Teresa of Avila, the Spanish Carmelite reformer and nun. She stood up to the Spanish Inquisition twice, and a saint and both of them saints and doctors of the church. Okay, I'm going to get rid of Teresa of Avila and Therese of Lisieux while we're going to have all these curse words. Potato Reverend says, Fianna fuckbags and shin failure. Where's the lie? Where's the lie? I feel very badly for y'all over there because your representation failed you. Because I believe you told me that they formed a coalition. And so that's how they got the power and to do all the stuff that they did, that people didn't actually vote for them. I think the parliamentary system is very good in many ways, but when crap like that happens, it sucks. Dadman Walking is here. Who is your hero, or who are your heroes? Can be real or fictional. And now that we put away the Carmelites, we can all cuss again. Let me get away. Now, this is one that people may not recognize off the top of their heads. If you can, I would be incredibly impressed with you all. But this is none other than Charles Lightoller. He was the
Which one of them is he?
he's the one on the That's a good question. I think he's the one on the right because he's the older one. He's pictured with his son, who's on the left. But he was one of the officers on Titanic. He loaded up one side of all the lifeboats. He stayed with the ship, unlike some other douchebags.
Yeah, I'll let that sink in.
I don't know if he would be amused or not, but survived. And how he survived was after as the ship was going down, he jumped out into the water, and there was a collapsible boat that was not able to be launched. They were trying to launch it. He was trying to launch it, and it overturned. And so he and several other men climbed up on it and survived that way until some of the other lifeboats later came and got him. So they were able to stay out of the water long enough to not freeze to death. That's also how the Marconi guy, Harold Bride, survived. The other one passed away. But what a lot of people don't know, is 20, 30 years later, he was minding his own business in England with his boat when they were doing the Dunkirk evacuation. And civilians all got their boats and went across to rescue the soldiers that were trapped, like it was shown in the movie Dunkirk. This is a scene from the movie Dunkirk. He and his son and one of their friends went over. He saved 130 men. The movie was not accurate to him. They chose to change the name and the type of ship that he used, partly because what's his name, Christopher Nolan, he wanted to be free to fictionalize some of the situation, which he did. Some of the sensational stuff was fictionalized. And also he didn't want like the whole Titanic thing to take over from the narrative of his story. That's what I have read. What was true shown in the movie was when the dive bomber came down and he knew how to evade it. He was taught that by his son, who was with the RAF. So yes. So Lightoller, 30 years later, was it 30 years? Yeah. During World War II, was one of the heroes of Dunkirk.
That's a damn good movie too. I really like that one.
Yeah. I was disappointed they changed his name because when something like that happens, you're like, there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance. But yeah, he was a real guy. Yeah. Very good movie. Kenneth Branagh was superb in it as well. So not only did he help people get off Titanic, he saved a bunch of men in World War II long after his retirement. I think that we're going to have some Sinn Féin bashing here. Yeah, Sinn Féin, Fianna Gael, and Foyle formed a women's council. They are pushing the narrative that all men are bad, highlighting crimes. Yes. Yeah, I've been seeing it. It's going crazy. Well, this is a time for heroes over there, Potato Revan. I've been seeing some of the heroic actions over in Ireland, and we're all rooting for you all and hoping that maybe something good will happen. You never know. Maybe Our Lady of Knock will decide to knock some sense into some people's heads. Deadman Walking says, who is his hero? My dad. July 28th will be 25 years without him. Oh, boy. Yeah, well, sorry to hear that. My dad's still with me, and I kind of hope that will be forever, but I know it won't be. It's always very hard to lose a parent. Oh. Well, my granddaddy, I think I mentioned he was my hero. He was in World War II, and I am starting to chronicle again his letters. I was Well, my aunt was left his letters, but she passed them on to me since I'm like the historian writer person in the family. So I am still putting them together. I put it aside, I've gone back to it, and I think that there's some stories to be told about the unknown heroes, the privates of the World War II. So Petitburn says, God bless that man. I'm sure he earned a spot in heaven. Yeah, he saved a lot of people, I'll tell you that. And he definitely had a pair of balls. He definitely did. So 2 thumbs up for Lightoller. And I was thinking of this. I was thinking of you, Stieg, when the heroes of Telemark, because you were the one who brought this to my attention.
Yeah, they blew up the German heavy water plants and prevented the Nazis from getting nuclear weapons.
Yep.
Before the U.S. and prevented them in general. So, kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, at one point, obviously, people knew about it if they were able to make a movie with Kirk Douglas, Richard Harris, and I'm not sure who the other dudes are, but that's quite an impressive cast. Yeah. So we would have lost the war if it weren't for them. Or they would have blown England to hell. So yay for the heroes of Telemark. Salty Traveling Sea, hello, cheers, Miss Martin and Stieg. Oh, I get a rose and you get some whiskey. Or is that bourbon? Yeah, one of these days I want to do a video about the heroes of Telemark, but I just need to do more research. And there was a name for the operation that they did, a big old sabotage operation. The inspiration of a noble cause enables men to do things they could not have dreamed of before. That's Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain saying that, but same idea. The heroes of Telemark. Maybe it'll say here 1966, directed by Anthony Man. Oh, yeah. Were these the guys that were on skis? Did they do stuff on skis?
Yep.
Okay.
Didn't you know Norwegians are born with skis on their feet?
Well, I do now. I do now. But all joking aside, of course, that would be an advantage that they would have. I remember the von Trapp family. Their 2 eldest fought for America in World War II, and they were enlisted to fight up around that area because they knew skiing so well by hanging out in the Alps of Austria. Potato Ribbon says, fun Private Ryan fact, the men shot were dressed for dinner, were speaking Czech, saying we are conscripts, don't shoot, no subtitles because it wanted to be showed darkness on both sides. Oh, okay. It's been a while since I've seen that now. Well, you said Norwegians are born with skis on their feet. Have you skied? Are you a skier?
I have skied, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you never told me that.
I have trouble braking and I have trouble turning.
Oh no. So you're a wrecking ball.
Yep.
Oh,
I used to be better at it though, but yeah.
Yeah, me too. Well, here in America, you have to go out to Colorado to go skiing. It's been a long time since I've gone. I did do some skiing in the Austrian Alps back in the day. That's a good place to go. Though, gosh, some of it was insane. There was one mountain I went up on. It was so high that they had nets along the side of the mountain. And I'm like, that's kind of not cool if they have to put nets so you don't fall over and kill yourself. But I didn't go much higher up. Oh, oh no! Potato Reverend says, but Steve, that's what trees are for. Stopping right is like when you're going fast.
Oh, I have tried using trees. My neighbor's balcony too.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's crazy. See, I think that's it. Yeah, because okay. Oh, there's Glendalock. Look, yeah, Red Potato Reverend, you missed my Glendalock stream last night. Okay, yeah. So these are the ones that I have pre-prepared. Well, remember, tragically, who was it? It was one of the Kennedys. Didn't they hit a tree with their head? And then so did Sonny, the Cher's ex husband. That was quite tragic. Yeah. So when I was putting this together, it really occurred to me that I don't have a lot of non fake heroes. I mean, maybe there's a few in there, but they're just so typical, like, George Washington, whatever. John Adams is someone that I think was pretty cool, but as it says in the TV show and the musical and in his own letters, he was obnoxious and disliked because he was obnoxious. He didn't know when to keep his big mouth shut. Oh dear. Oh dear, Potato Revan. I don't know. Would Rocky, does he qualify Stieg as a?
Yeah, Rocky's is a hero. It's an underdog story, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Rambo though,
Oh.
he went back and saved the POVs in Rambo 2 and killed the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fourth one, he goes to save some uh, Christian people.
Missionaries?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
in Burma, and then he kills that country too.
Damn. Yeah, he F's people up, but he always does it on behalf of people that can't defend themselves. So that's, yeah. Yeah. And I guess in Rocky, well, when you have an underdog, I mean, he was a hero, of course, to Adrian. And his character also inspired many in this story, but in real life as well. Like, I still use some of the quotes. I think one of my favorite ones is from Creed, where he says it's not how many times you get hit, it's how many times you get up after you're hit that counts. And he also says, like, one punch at a, was it one step at a time, one punch at a time, one round at a time. He was a hero to Creed as well. I loved Creed. I loved Creed 1 and Creed 2. Well, in Creed 2, Drago was the hero. He was a hero to his son. So.
Yeah, he kind of redeemed himself a bit, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was very moving, to be honest. I love the scenes of Potato Revan when he said to his son, saying, "You fit here in my hand. You were so small and weak." Aw. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, it goes without saying that Lord of the Rings, I mean, you've got Boromir, you've got Aragorn, you have Sam, you have Frodo, you have, frankly, every single character in there is a hero. Theoden. Well, let me rephrase that. Everyone but Gollum and Denethor are heroes. Of course, Faramir is the most perfect man who ever lived. Oh, this is something worth thinking about. Snape. But Revan says Snape is one of my heroes. I loved him. Yeah, we still are debating Snape to this day because Harry Potter himself says at the end of the book that Snape was one of the bravest men he ever knew. But in many ways, he was horrible. He did heroic deeds, but were his motivations correct? Because he was doing them out of selfishness. Because if he hadn't loved Lily, if Voldemort had not killed Lily, would he have done all of those heroic acts? I don't know, Steve, do you think that Snape's a hero?
To a point,
To a point? Yeah.
because there was also selfishness in there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bad motivations. But I'm trying to think. Well, he did save everybody because he worked as a double agent against Voldemort, and Voldemort would not have been vanquished without Snape's actions.
Yeah, but he did something heroic, but it wasn't like all him, was it?
Mm, yeah. Okay, Potato Burn says in the fight with McGonagall, he stole the twins' wands and he deflected her spells and didn't fire at her. He saved Draco's soul, he saved the trio, and also helped kill Voldemort. Oh, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I think we don't talk about this enough. You're right about him saving Draco's soul. That was huge. And I think the movies sucked by not really pushing that point home. That the reason why he was the one that killed not Voldemort, killed Dumbledore was so that Draco wouldn't have to, because Dumbledore was going to die. He was dying already, but he stepped in, and we see the fruits of it, don't we? That Draco was able to make the right decision, leave the Dark Lord with, and lived a pretty productive life, had at least one son. And from what I hear, the play's a little bit ridiculous, but it still is her story if that's what she says happens. I think the son Scorpius and Harry Potter's son, they became friends, and I think Scorpius and Harry's daughter, was it Harry Potter's daughter, hook up, I think. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Well, hello, JT Gunn. America's ass is here. Well, I think we know who your hero is. It is Captain America. But should he have gone back to the past? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. He definitely did heroic actions. Well, and that brings up a good question. Does motivation count in making you a hero? Because you can do good things for bad reasons.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It it depends on the individual case, I think.
Yeah.
Boromir did a heroic deed when
Oh,
he
hell yes.
when he defended Merry and Pippin.
Mm-hmm. And really, for the most part, he was fine. He gets a bad rap. For the vast majority of the book, well, almost the entirety of the book, he was a hero. He was very protective of Merry and Pippin, but also of Frodo and Sam. There's scenes with him in the book with Frodo and Sam, but I understand why the Jackson wanted to emphasize Merry and Pippin so that it really hit home what happened. But he just fell, metaphorically, for a moment to the ring's
Yeah,
to the
and he
temptation.
is the only one to come back after having fallen to the ring
Mm-hmm.
to basically shake it off. Nobody else has done that.
That's true.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's epic level.
yeah. Everyone can fall It's what you do after you fall that determines who you are. And yeah, and he wouldn't have been able to come back the way he did, Stieg, if there wasn't already goodness and heroism and, if you will, the graces he needed to do so. Kai is here. Hello, Kai. How's it going? I haven't seen you in a minute, man. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's saying hi to us. I'm sorry I missed you there, Kai. Hi, everyone. Hail, it's Martin, Muses, and Stieg. Good to see
Hi,
you.
Kai.
Yay, it's Kai. I wish Snape had turned on Voldemort, says Potato Rim, by looking at him and saying, "Oh, Tom, Tom, dear half-boy Tom, why would I serve you? You took her from me, and I've been protecting him from you." Yeah, everyone's saying hi here. Potato Rim, yes, the ring had a huge effect on him. Yeah. But even so, yeah, for the most part, yeah. And he epically defended Merry and Pippin and redeemed himself. And remember, Faramir is the most perfect man who ever lived in fiction, and the close bond he had with his brother. So if Boromir sucked, Faramir wouldn't have that devotion to him as his brother. Oh, my spin. Yes, please make sure to hit that like button, everyone. Yes, thank you. And I mean, Sam goes without saying is a hero. I mean, there's a whole Sam the hero theme. And Frodo is a hero even if he failed, because Tolkien says in his letters that Frodo went as far as he was able to. Aragorn kind of, that's kind of self-explanatory. And Theoden doing his big last ride, and death. Potato Ribbon says, I loved in the movie when you saw the ring loose its hold over him and he instantly wondered where the halflings were to protect them, and gave his life for Merry and Pippin, the halflings. Yeah. He was the first man to give his life for his king. Yeah. And for his friends. No greater love has no man than this. Is Indiana Jones a hero? The real Indiana Jones?
Yeah, especially in the second one.
Mm.
And he basically goes there to save the kids and get the stones for the small village.
Mm.
He has nothing to gain for that, but he does it anyway.
Mm. It's the right thing to do.
Which is weird because he keeps saying fortune and glory, but he hasn't been promised any fortune, has he?
No.
So it's like they just put that line in there just to make it a tagline.
Yeah, you're right. He never does it. He's always for the greater good, whether it's for the archaeology or helping other people.
Yeah, and the third one, he's basically looking for his dad. He's not looking for the Grail.
No.
The dad was looking for the Grail, and Indy was just following the trail.
Yeah. And the tests that he has to pass. Trying to think, how does that connect? Well, it showed his character. He ended up having to do the test. Yes, thank you, Dadman Walking. Potato Run saying, is the doctor a good man? Is he a hero? You're talking about from Doctor Who? I don't know enough about Doctor Who to answer that question accurately. I've only seen what Doctor number 9, 10, and most of 11. I believe he was. He's a good guy.
I haven't seen anything, actually. It's one of the shows I've never watched.
Yeah. And it's a good thing you didn't, because of course it went straight to hell.
Yeah. The Shannara books has a lot of heroes.
Oh, hell yes. Darius Lament says, Sean Connery is definitely one of my heroes. Harrison should have taken note and just retired gracefully.
Well, the thing with the new Indiana Jones is they had a script planned when Harrison signed on, and then they started changing it after he had signed, and that's when Spielberg jumped ship because Karen Allen confirmed it. She said the first script bit was an Indy and Marion adventure, so it would have come full circle with the first one, wouldn't it? But someone decided to put Phoebe Waller-Bridge in there and focus on her.
I wonder who.
Yeah, and you can tell that it was going to be a passing of the torch thing and have her continue the franchise because she had all kinds of contacts that Indy used to have. She just had them inbuilt in her character. She even had a little short round with her, an Arab kid who was good in the movie, by the way. So they basically gave her a short round and all the you know contacts Indy had, and then the one liners and they gave her most of the good action parts too. Granted, Ford was, you know, 80, but still. Oh, and she knocked him out with one punch.
Ugh.
So there was definitely some kind of agenda happening, happening with that one.
Yes, and I'm so happy it did as badly as it deserved. I feel
Yeah,
bad. Yeah, I feel badly for the people maybe involved who weren't part of making it suck, but
yeah. It's it, the same thing I believe happened with Star Wars as well, because Lucas had spoken with Hamill, Fisher, and Ford and told them about his script and all that stuff, and then they signed on. Then he sold it to Disney, thinking Disney would make the movies he had planned, right? And it got changed. I mean, Mark Hamill wouldn't have done that sequel trilogy if he had known what was in the scripts, because he hated it.
yeah. Well, and especially The Last Jedi. I don't think I think that his genuine horror at The Last Jedi that was completely real.
Yeah, so it's it's Disney changing it for some kind of political reason, or I'm not sure why. Maybe they're just that disconnected with the fans because
Yeah.
they'll probably look at some numbers and go, "Oh yeah, female leads, that's really popular. We have to do that."
Hmm.
Just looking at statistics or something like that, right? And
Hmm.
just completely missing the point.
I
I think a
agree.
lot of that stuff has happened.
Yeah, and also I think that they're so insulated. Also,
Yeah, because they're definitely in an echo chamber. Um, they're listening to the shill fans, right? Who'll just clap and nod and say everything's great.
yeah, because they want attention or access.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of a major female trilogy, the Mockingbird, the Hunger Games, and
yeah,
they
uh,
totally misunderstood the success of the Hunger Games.
yeah, and heck, there's been a. I mean, Sigourney Weaver did 4 Alien movies,
Yeah.
right? Um, Linda Hamilton was in 3 Terminator movies. Granted, the last one she was in was complete garbage, but it was due to the writing. The 2 out of the 3 female leads were actually great in it.
Hmm.
Linda Hamilton was awesome, and the blonde chick who played the half Terminator, whatever it was, uh,
Hmm.
they were actually the best part of the movie. But
Yeah, I've heard that.
and you have Jodie Foster and uh, from the Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
You have if you go on go by TV shows, there's a heck of a lot. You have Buffy, you have Xena, You have Scully from the X Files. She was in more episodes than Mulder was,
Hmm.
so that makes her more of a lead than Mulder. You know.
Yeah. Well, and if you count the closer and major crimes, um,
Yeah, yeah. What is it? Medium. That was one.
yeah,
That was like 6 or 7 seasons with what's her name?
yeah,
Patricia Arquette. Was that it,
could have been.
or the other Arquette? It was one of them. The one who
You see,
was in
this is
True Romance with Christian Slater.
yeah. But you see, and I think that this is where they misunderstand is that none of those things ever did it at the expense of the male heroes, and it's like I don't know if it's that they don't have talent,
That's what it is.
that they don't know how to write a strong female character without tearing down the male character.
Well, here's an old writing rule: write what you know, right?
Hmm.
So if you know a lot about mythology and blah blah blah, you'll write fantasy. If you know a lot of Western history and stuff like that, you'll write westerns. But the thing with these new writers, if you apply write what you know to them, right? They're writing about themselves because that's their whole focus. It's narcissism. That's why they're doing the self inserts all the time
And
because
that
they think that's normal.
and that's why they can't write recognizable characters.
Yes,
That
and
relatable rather.
yeah, and that is why they spurg out on people criticizing the movies and whatever it is because they take it as a personal attack because they put themselves in it.
Oh, very good point.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, you heard it here
I
first.
mean,
And
I mean, if if the writer is that shallow, right?
mhm,
No wonder the character is going to be skin deep.
yeah,
If if the only thing interesting about a side character is that the person has a certain skin color and a sexuality, there you go. The character was skin deep from the get go.
yeah. And their only real quality is how can they put down the man,
Yeah,
which is a turnoff. Yeah, no, those are very good points. And I see the character that you said. I don't know if I can pronounce it, Peter Reverend. I am not familiar with Stargate, so I don't know a lot about
oh,
this character.
it's Tilk. Yeah,
Okay,
he was awesome.
all right. Well, there you go. It's not obscure to Stieg. I was not familiar. And hello, Biggs.
Oh, and he was black too. Imagine that. They actually wrote a good character for a black guy.
Yeah, because it was a good character.
Yeah, the character was awesome, and the actor did really well. Because guess why? He had a lot to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the other thing is George Lucas said something to the effect of, "If you don't have a story, that's a very boring thing." I mean, he's so obvious, but he said it so obviously. It struck me. It's like, yeah, it's boring. Jiraiya says another thing that bugs me is we all know it's bad, but they get cover from the mainstream critics and media. They are enabling it. Yes.
And characters drive the story forward. If you don't have actual characters, the story is just going to stand pretty much still, and they're just going to toss in plot points that happens willy nilly, which you saw in the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
Like
Which,
somehow Palpatine survived. Was
yeah.
no mention of him in the previous two movies.
Yeah. And they just literally, I mean, almost the actor, you could see the
Yeah,
actor cringing.
yeah.
Yeah. And this goes back to heroes is you can't have a hero if it's not a character worth being heroic or
Well, basically The strength of the protagonist is measured by the threat posed by the antagonist.
Ooh. Oh, of course, you know this. You're a writer
Yeah,
too.
so the more powerful the antagonist, the greater the heroics from the protagonist. It could be a small time lawyer beating a big shot famous lawyer in a case,
Hmm.
right? Or it could be Rocky not losing to Apollo,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
or Willow defeating the big evil sorceress, you know.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
real Willow. Damn. Well, you heard it here first on Miss Martin Muses. Absolutely.
yeah. And in the case of Indiana Jones, though, he doesn't beat anyone; they beat themselves because Belloc wins, and then he opens the chest. The guy in the second movie is basically destroyed by faith in a way because of the stone starts glowing when they're having like a religious verbal battle.
Hmm.
So it's not a case of Indiana Jones beating him up. And in the third one, the guy drinks from the wrong cup.
Yeah, he chose poorly.
Yeah, and fourth one, they're captured by the Russians, and then Kate Blanchett decides to mess around with the skull. So Indy never really wins. It's the other ones, the villains' weaknesses defeat themselves.
That is an astute
So
observation.
he basically wins by sticking to his principles and his knowledge.
And we see that a lot of that came from the upbringing that he was given. You saw the discipline that
Yeah.
Henry
Indiana
Seymour.
Jones knew that Jesus would have a carpenter's cup.
Hmm.
That's what saves him, and his dad, his knowledge. The other guy just he had the German lady give him the prettiest cups, right?
Yeah.
Because he never bothered doing the groundwork.
Yeah, he just wanted to get the
Yeah,
glory, wanted to get the power from it. Well, in the
yeah,
same way, that's how he knew not to tell that's how he knew to tell Marion, don't look at the ark because you can't see what's in the ark, you will die. That's like from the Bible too.
yeah.
So he was like, don't
And
look at it, don't touch it.
it's hinted at the beginning
Hmm.
because Indy knows. He tells them, "Didn't you ever go to Sunday school?"
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yay. Oh, and it looks like I'm at 8:40. Well, that's great news. Yay. Thank you everyone for subbing. I do appreciate that. Sam Carter was extremely feminist season 1. By later seasons, they legit made a joke of her first line, off my reproduction or the inside. Okay, I'm not entirely sure who Sam Carter
Oh,
is.
she's from Stargate.
Oh, understood. Okay, yeah.
Blonde lady. That was a fun thing when they had a meeting with the guy who plays MacGyver because he's the boss,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about how they could fix something, and she looked at him and said, "Maybe we can MacGyver it to work." And
Oh, fun.
he just rolled his eyes. So they had like a little inside, breaking the fourth wall kind of joke.
I give that one 2 thumbs up. That's great. Because life's too short also to have a stick up your butt.
The well, it's 10 or 11 seasons, I think. The Stargate SG-1. Then you had a couple of spin-offs too, but I was never a massive fan of Stargate, but I was entertained, and I thought the main characters had great chemistry, which is probably why it lasted so long, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you kind of saw the same in Firefly, if you watched that one.
Oh, I loved Firefly. That talk about a hero.
Yeah, a big damn hero. That's what he says.
Yep.
Uh, chemistry, because the characters were well written to fit with each other. uh, playing off each character's strength and weaknesses, and that was a theme all through it. And Joss Whedon, like him or not, he did much of the same with Buffy as well. So he's good at ensemble cast, isn't he?
Yeah, he just missed the boat on the whole Snyder thing, but I think that was all just it. Not Snyder, rather the Justice League. There's other issues. The Joyous Lament, the music from the first 3 indie movies are printed on my soul. And he also says, so, excuse me, Indiana Jones is kind of just a catalyst that hastens their own demise. I'm assuming he means the villains.
Yeah, because if you look at the first movie, if you remove Indiana Jones, the movie's probably going to end much the same, because Belloc would have taken the Ark to a secure place to open it to see if it works.
And they all would have melted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only difference is that Marion would probably have been killed in Tibet.
Mm.
Other than that, it probably would have, because they would have had the medallion with the correct measurements, so they would have found the Ark.
Mm. Well, there you go. But that just brings home the genius of the original Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, they're awesome, and
Yeah. Well, it's that's I mean that just makes you think that who's a villain's own greatest enemy? Themselves.
yeah, and they were written by George Lucas, at least the first 3 or 4,
Hmm.
and they have the villain's weaknesses defeating themselves in the end, which is the same thing that happens with Star Wars.
Yeah, because
Palpatine is so full of hubris, he doesn't realize that Vader is going to protect his kid.
yeah, I was gonna say the real version of it,
Yeah,
uh, and he didn't, and he was just too busy enjoying it, just so power hungry. And of course, it
yeah,
goes without saying that the real Luke Skywalker is a hero, so is the real Han Solo, and so is the real Princess Leia.
yeah. So it seems to be a theme with Lucas. I mean, even Willow, the queen, dies from her own hubris. She can't fathom that Willow is tricking her with the disappearing pig trick.
Oh, I need to rewatch that.
Willow's great. It's awesome. I think maybe it didn't do well in the cinemas though, but I don't get why.
Um, I don't remember. I went to see it. I remember people liking it. Was it that it didn't do well in the cinemas, or it didn't do as well as they wanted it to? That's
I think it's one of those movies that did better on VHS because
mhm.
people bought it and rented it. I think. I'll check.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
because sometimes, especially back then, if it didn't surpass or reach an astronomical expectations, that's where people would come for this. And of course, Willow is a very good example of a hero. It
Oh
killed
hell
on.
yes.
I remember at least watching it about 100 times as a kid. Yeah, I watched it twice in the cinema. Um, Maverick. You know, he's a hero, the Top Gun guy.
The Willow, the Willow earned 137.6 million worldwide, and then strong home video and television sales added to its profits.
Okay. How
The
about
the budget was, well, it doesn't. I think it said it was 35.
yeah? Because that's where you can tell if it was a success. So that it means that if it was 35, then it was profitable. Because usually, in general, you double Let's see. The budget.
Lucas had hoped it would make as much money as ET,
Oh well,
but
that's
uh, but
absurd.
it was in competition with Crocodile Dundee 2, Big, and Rambo 3. So steep competition.
Yeah. And Willow wasn't as good as those. Yes. So it was a success. I mean, technically, it was a profitable success. It just wasn't, the next Star Wars.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that really kicked off on VHS and TV. That was
Hmm.
kind of a bit like Tremors, because Tremors didn't do well, but it earned a shitload on home video,
Yeah.
and it got a cult following after that, and it's I think it's one of the most rented movies actually.
Yeah. Back in the day, back when renting was a thing, my goodness. And speaking of another example where they try to do a movie or TV show like what they did with Willow, where they bait and switch and try to make it all about characters that weren't even in the original and they're crapping over all the men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Willow's budget was $35 million,
Yeah.
but you have to triple it, don't you, for it to become a success? If you
Usually,
d- if you double it, no, you multiply it by 2.5 to break even.
okay. So it was slightly profitable, but it was more profitable than this Indiana Jones is going to be. So it was not. I mean, it's hard to call that. It was not a flop. It sounds like, but
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no, no.
yeah,
It wasn't a flop,
yeah.
but
That's
it
what I
didn't
thought.
do as well as they thought it would, especially with George Lucas's name on it,
Hmm.
and all that stuff. So it probably should have done a lot better, given that it was, yeah, a new fantasy stories a story about the Star Wars guy, right?
Yeah. Well, and sometimes maybe believing too much in your hype. What is it? Dry's Limit said Willow suffered from high expectation syndrome. And Biggles loves Trimmers. Yes, we love Trimmers here at Miss Martin
Yeah,
Musings.
Jiraiya is correct. It suffered from high expectation syndrome.
Mhm.
Plus the competition. I mean, you had Rambo 3. Stallone was flying sky high at the time, you know, and
Yeah,
Big, that one made a
that was
shitload of money.
huge. Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
was.
and
Big
then
was
you
huge.
have Crocodile Dundee 2. Crocodile Dundee 1 was a huge success.
Yeah.
So that was the competition. So uh, you can understand why a lot of people, especially males, would go watch Rambo 3 instead of Willow, because guys had testosterone back then. They weren't full of soy.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, Willow, for lack of a better word, was overall a bit of a kiddie kind of movie. I felt that.
Yeah, and Warwick Davis was not a big name,
No,
and Val Kilmer wasn't either at that time.
no.
He became huge in the early '90s.
Yeah. Yeah. So yay for Tremors and Snortopoops Kubur. Howoo, humans and other critters. Hello. How are you up there in your iceberg? I didn't care that much for Willow, says Snortopoops Kubur. It seemed like Tolkien light to me, very light. Yeah, it was derivative for sure. And
Oh
that's not
yeah.
to say that his other stuff wasn't derivative, but it didn't it was pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious. And it was a different time too. Like when Star Wars hit, it was a different era, a different time, and yeah, it was what it was. And they could have printed money as always, Disney, Lucasfilm, with this new TV show, but they just couldn't help themselves. And they already had a female written in with the little girl, the little baby all grown up. So they didn't have to add all those other
Well,
obnoxious
they
characters.
George Lucas and Chris Claremont wrote a trilogy of books that served as a sequel to Willow. It was focused on the girl who had grown up to be a spoiled brat.
Oh,
So that's the canon continuation of the story. And like, what Disney's done with other things, they ignored the books that were canon. And this was a book written by George, well, three books written by George Lucas. Granted, the books are pretty damn bad, but it's the story he wanted,
mm-hmm.
you know?
And they could have taken them and improved on them. If they were kind of crap, they could have used them as a
They
base.
probably didn't even know they existed.
Yeah, they're not really fans, are they? Well, look who's here. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Thank you for being here. Everyone's saying hello. Darius Lament. Hello. Yeah, so we're kind of winding down. We were talking about our heroes. I shared some of my real life heroes, and Steve shared a few of his. I think the one that was the biggest hit of why Buddha is a hero. But we also discussed the heroes of Telemark and everyone sharing this. I'm gonna go ahead and start
So
winding. Sorry, go ahead.
if you think about it, Norway's done a hell of a lot for the U.S. because we discovered America, and Columbus used some of his theories based on old Viking stories that the Vikings had found land past Britain, right?
Yeah.
But he assumed it was China, but it wasn't. But and then we prevented the Third Reich uh, from getting nuclear weapons before everyone else, and that would not have boded well for the East Coast of the United States. I think the United States would have thought twice about joining the war if Germany had nuclear weapons,
And England would
and
have been obliterated.
there would be no London, I think, and I think maybe Paris probably would have suffered, and maybe the Russians,
Yeah. We
because
would.
I don't think the guy with the mustache would have wasted those weapons. I think he would have used them
Oh,
because
yeah.
yeah. So Norway did all that. Plus, the Statue of Liberty is in part built by Norwegian steel.
Well, you heard it here first. The real heroes of the word are the Norwegians.
And we were the first ones to get to the South Pole. Imagine that. That's as far away from Norway as you can get almost. But we were the first ones there, and I think we might have been the first ones to traverse the Northwest Passage. We had a lot of explorers.
Yeah. Well, because it was so daggone cold.
Yeah,
You got to do what you got to do.
yeah. Imagine being in Norway and like, shit, it's cold here. Let's go to the South Pole.
Well, they didn't know it. Or they found pilgrims, penguins.
Yep.
Oh, dearie me. Let's
So
see.
that's pretty good for a country that currently has like 5.5 million people. Well, even less back then.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, they founded all of those settlements over in England and in Ireland.
Oh, they've even found Viking settlements in Brazil now. So they went there in an open boat, thinking the world was flat and the sea was full of monsters.
That's also just batshit crazy.
Yeah,
Yes, you're.
open boats. That's what they used.
Yeah. I mean, those were bad enough up there on the North Sea for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them probably died, though.
Well, they're dead now.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? That we only hear about the ships that made it, not the ones that drowned.
Oh yeah, probably a lot was lost at sea, and they probably thought, yeah, the sea monsters got them, or they sailed off the edge, or. But if you've seen how bad the weather is in the Atlantic,
Mm-hmm.
You have 20, 30 foot waves or whatever. It's you get waves kind of like the stuff you see in the perfect storm, right?
Yes.
And you're out there in an open boat.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it.
It's nuts. There's some kind of mental damage going on there. I would not do it.
No. I would be like, "Sure, I'll stay home and look after the house. Thank you, darling." Like on those stupid TV shows where they always have the women going, "I want to go and be a man." I'd be like, "No, you all go be men on your own. That's perfectly fine with me. No, thank you." Um, Meanwhile, Sort of Poop says the polar bears are saying those damn Norwegians are back. The good old days when bravery was challenged from not having a TikTok with an edgy personality. Oh dear.
Good
Yeah,
point.
TikTok.
So stunning, so brave.
Yeah,
I mean, heck, look at the American troops that arrived in Normandy.
yeah,
That's bravery.
damn right. The rest, we don't know the meaning of the word bravery. I think, yeah, the heroes of Telemark. I need to again. I wouldn't mind watching some of that stuff. I think that we need to keep these alive. I'll stay here in the in the fjord. Says Sort of Poop is have fun storming the iceberg. Well, we know how that ended for Titanic. Not well. I would not recommend storming any
Yeah,
iceberg.
don't use a cruise ship as a battering ram.
No, it's not a good idea. Oh dear. Um, yeah, well, we do need to wind down. I was only going to go an hour, but they're heroes. Definitely worth something to talk about. And I think that we have a lot from the chat in real world and in fictional world, and especially in the fictional rather, showing what makes a good hero.
Yeah,
Um,
Martin Longbow or Jimmy the
oh,
Hand and
Martin
Arutha.
Longbow, Arutha, all those characters are so amazing, so amazing. Well, I was gonna say as I was gonna ask the question, hey, where can we find you? But I do know where we can find you, Steve. You are planning to be on with Mara Jade, I believe.
Yes, in 25 minutes, where she and I and Orange Hat Reviews will be discussing Jaws 2. I was supposed to be on for the first Jaws movie as well, but I slept.
Yeah. Okay, I just put the link to Mara's stream, Mara's Jaws 2 stream, so you all can go ahead and move over there and at least wave and give her a like, a share, and a subscribe. And what else do you have going, Steek?
Nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of
Well,
nice.
there's a top 10 on Mara's channel eventually. I'm not sure if it's next week or the week after because I don't pay attention.
She'll let you know when the time comes.
Yep.
All right, so stay tuned. And we no longer have our regular book stream, so no stream on Saturday. But please, if you would like to go and read the books and, uh, check out
Yeah.
the streams, I think you'll enjoy them. You'll find some books that you will maybe not have read. And I don't think I'm going to be anywhere else either. I pop around here and there on different people's channel, depending on what Nina has going on. Sometimes on Sunday night she does um, her Conan Exiles, or she does a hangout. So just stay tuned over there. Perhaps We're going to have season 2 of Pub Crawl. The plan is, as of now, next Tuesday night with Magitech Megs opening up the show. However, I need to confirm whether or not that's going to happen because of designer things. So again, just please stay tuned here at Miss Smart Muses. And even though I only need 15 hours, you know what? I can always use more watch hours because I'm going to be mostly monetized, not fully completely. You cannot get the AdSense monetization on for your videos until you reach 4,000. So please, everyone that has been watching my videos to help me get those watch hours, please do continue. But I do appreciate everyone that has been helping me over this last month and maybe onward to 1,000 as well. Keely Chow. Well, I'm sorry, Keely Chow, you just missed us. We're about ready to quit, but please go and say hi to Mara Jade. Here's the link. That's where Steve's going to be, and Orange Hat. They're going to be talking about Jaws 2. We were talking about Heroes. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off so that Steve can get a bit of a break before he has to go over there. So have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, and be certain to only imitate heroes.